Imagine you are trapped alone in a jungle where not only wild animals but even cannibals humans are waiting to hunt you. Something like this actually happened in 1943 when a hunter entered a terrifying forest in Assam. At first, he came face to face with the king of the jungle, a bloodthirsty tiger. But that wasn't the real danger. Just moments later, more than a dozen wild cannibals surrounded him. No way out, no chance to run, and then, when death was only a few steps away, something unexpected happened that changed everything. How did he escape that hell like jungle alive? This story will make your heart race. In the mysterious lowlands of Assam, to the right of the Guwahati Sarcha Road, lies a dark and terrifying forest that fills people with fear just by hearing about it. This is no ordinary jungle. It's a place where nature shows its most savage sides. Heavy rains fall all year, making the forest thicker, darker, and more dangerous. In many areas, even sunlight cannot reach the ground. Small villages exist around this forest where people live simple but very hard lives. Farming and cutting woods are their only way to survive, yet fear is always visible on their faces. Locals says this forest hides terrible secrets and not everyone who enters ever come back, and those who do are never the same again. The small villages along the edge of this terrifying jungle may look normal at first, but the lives of the people there are anything but ordinary. These communities have been cut off from the modern world of centuries. No technology, no education, and no real hope for a safe or comfortable life. Just a daily struggle to survive. The men, often wearing very little clothing, carry sharp machetes like tools and head deep into the forest. There they spend hours cutting wood or searching for prey. The women dress just as simply, work just as hard. Their lives have no comforts, no luxury, only endless efforts to stay alive. But the most chilling part is the rumor that spreads far beyond these villages that these peoples are not just ordinary humans but cannibals. It is said that if a long traveler ever wanders into this area by mistake, they never return. Is this the truth or just a terrifying legend? To find out, I knew there was only one way. I had to set up into that hell-like jungle myself. It was the thrilling years of 1943 when the hunter inside me once again pulled me toward danger. Hunting was not just a hobby for me, it was an obsession, a passion that always pushed me towards places where ordinary people wouldn't even dare to go, and that same obsession led me straight to the mysterious and terrifying jungle of Assam. I arrived there carrying a letter of introduction from a close friend, addresses to well-known wealthy man from Shillong, Vishesh Kumar De. My goal was not just hunting, I also wanted to uncover the dark secret of this forest. Stories I had heard countless times before. When I reached, I found out that Mr. J was away visiting his lands. However, his son Rajan Kumar De welcomed me warmly. His hospitality is some of the exhaustion from my long journey, but the curiosity inside me was still burning strong. Little did I know this journey was about to lead me into a nightmare, an experience so terrifying that I would never forget it for the rest of my life. During my stay in Shillong, most of my time was spent gathering information about that terrifying jungle. Everywhere I went, I asked people about it, and almost everyone had a chilling story to tell. Some said cannibals tribes lived deep inside the forest. Others claimed there was mysterious forces that could make a person disappear forever. But among all these stories, the most shocking one came from a man named Abu Shama. There was a strange seriousness in his voice, as if he had seen everything with his own eyes. He used to work for a British officer, and during one journey, he witnessed something so horrifying that it was still burned into his memory. He described how, on a deserted road, a group of wild people suddenly appeared out of nowhere. Within moments, they blocked the path completely. They were holding spears and sharp weapons, and there was something terrifying in their eyes. Pure savagery. Hearing this, I feel both fear and a strange curiosity growing inside me. What was the real truth hidden inside the jungle? Abu Shama began telling his story in a trembling voice, and it sent chills down my spine. He said that during one journey he was traveling in a jeep with his British officer when suddenly on a deserted road they noticed some suspicious people. As soon as the jeep's headlights fell on them, they quickly disappeared into the bushes, but the danger was not over. In fact, the real fear was just beginning. A short distance ahead, they saw that the road was completely blocked. Huge tree trunks and heavy stones had been placed across it. This was no incident, it was a carefully planned trip. The officer immediately understood the situation and tried to steer the jeep off the road to escape. But suddenly, terrifying screams echoed from all around. Dozens of wild men emerged from the bushes, holding spears and sharp weapons. Within seconds, they surrounded the jeep completely. That moment turned into a deadly clash between life and death, and now the chance of survival were almost gone. The situation slipped out of control in seconds. As the wild men surrounded the jeep, they were filled with shouts, screams, and pure fear. Despite the panic, the British officer didn't lose his courage. He quickly grabbed the gun from Abu Shama and opened fire. Shot after shot echoed through the jungle, and a few of the attackers fell to the ground. But the rest didn't stop. Instead, they charged forward even more brutally. Spears flashed in the air as they rushed closer. The ground was thick with mud, slowing the jeep down. Escape was becoming impossible. Then suddenly a spear flew through the air and struck the officer, then another and another. With moments, he collapsed covered in blood. The scene was so horrifying that Abu Shama was frozen with shock, but deep down he knew one thing: if he stayed even a second longer, he would meet the same fate. Driven by fear, he made a desperate and daring decision. He jumped out of the jeep and ran for his life. Abu Shama said that after jumping out of the jeep, the survivor felt like nothing short of a miracle. He ran blindly through the dark, terrifying jungle with no sense of direction. behind him. He could still hear screams, shouting, and footsteps, like death itself was chasing him. He kept moving forward, crashing into trees, bushes, and rocks. Many times he fell, but every time he forced himself back up and kept running. His body was covered in wounds, his clothes were torn apart, but fear gave him the strength to keep going. After some time, he noticed the noise behind him slowly fading away, but the danger was far from over. In the darkness of the night, the jungle felt even more terrifying, as if every tree was closing in on him. He kept moving the entire night, sometimes running, sometimes hiding, with only one thought in his mind: to escape this living hell. Finally, near morning, he saw something in the distance, a small village. Farmers were already working in their fields. To him, it felt like the first sign of life, a ray of hope. With trembling steps, he moved forward them and then collapsed onto the ground. When the villagers saw Abu Shama in that condition, they immediately ran forward him. He was covered in blood, completely exhausted, and barely conscious. His clothes were torn, and his body was full of wounds, as if he had come face to face with death itself. The farmers quickly helped him up and carried him into a small hut. They gave him warm tea and basic first aid. Slowly his condition began to improve, but the fear in his eyes was still clearly visible. Again and again he looked back nervously, as if he couldn't believe he had actually escaped that terrifying jungle. The horrifying images keep replaying in his mind: spears, screams, and the shadow of death closing in. After a few hours, a bus arrived that was heading towards the city. The villagers helped him to get on board. The passengers were shocked when they saw his condition, and when he slowly began to tell his story, a deep silence spread across the bus. No one could believe that a man could enter that deadly jungle and came back alive. Inside the bus, a deep silence had taken over. Every passenger listened closely to Abu Shama's trembling voice as he continued his story. An invisible wave of fear spread through everyone. He explained that after getting on the bus, he later asked about the road behind, the same place where everything had happened, but the response shocked everyone. The place where he was found, covered in blood, showed no signs of any attack at all. No broken jeep, no weapons, no dead bodies, not even a single trace of the wild attackers. This made the whole story even more mysterious. If such a brutal attack had really happened, then why was there no evidence? Was it all real, or was it some unexplainable secret of the jungle? Abu Shama even reported the incident to the police. They searched the area for days but found nothing, not a single clue. And that's when the story raised an even more terrifying question: was there something in that jungle, a hidden force that could erase every trace of what happened? After hearing Abu Shama's mysterious story, both fear and curiosity began to grow inside me at the same time. On one hand, my heart warned me to stay away from that jungle, but on the other, my hunter's instinct kept pulling me toward it. I thought to myself, if all of this just rumor, then the truth must be uncovered. And if it's real, then understanding the secrets of that jungle becomes even more important. Slowly, my fear began to run into curiosity. Instead of weakening my resolve, people's warning only made me more determined. Everyone tried to stop me. Don't go there. There are cannibals. No one come back alive. But strangely, these very words gave me courage. I started to feel that this jungle was not just a place of trees and wild animals, but the center of a mystery that no one had ever fully understood. And then I made my decision. I would step into that terrifying jungle myself, no matter what the outcome would be. Finally, the day arrived when I began my journey toward the terrifying jungle. Early in the morning, I sat inside my jeep, and an unusual silence filled the air. With every passing moment, my heart beat faster, but my determination stayed strong. As soon as I left the city behind, the road began to change. The highways turned empty and endless, and slowly human settlements disappeared from view. All around me now were only dense trees, high hills, and mysterious mountain paths. I slowed down the jeep and started observing everything carefully. The environment felt strange, as if the jungle was watching me, studying my every move. On the way, I passed a few small villages, but the people there avoided talking to me. There was a hidden fear in their eyes, as if they wanted to say something but couldn't. The silence around them felt heavier than words. At the moment, I clearly felt I was getting closer to a place from where the return would never be the same again. As I moved deeper into the jungle, the atmosphere became even more mysterious and heavy. Tall trees began to cover the sky completely, and sunlight could barely reach the ground. Everything was wrapped in an eric silence, a silence that felt like a warning of danger. I slowed the jeep even more as the path became narrow and difficult. Every turn felt like something hidden was waiting for me. My hand stayed tightly on the rifle, and my eyes kept scanning every direction. Then suddenly I noticed a small stream near the road with clean, cold water flowing through it. After such a long and tiring journey, I feel both thirsty and hungry. I decided to stop for a moment. I stepped out of the jeep, kept my rifle close, and slowly walked toward the stream. Even though the sound of water was soothing, the surrounding atmosphere still felt tense, as if nature itself was warning me that something dangerous was about to happen. I sat on a rocky spot near the stream to rest for a while. The cold water and soft breeze gave me temporary relief for exhaustion, but the uneasiness inside me never disappeared. It felt like the silence around me was the calm before a massive storm. I had just taken a few bites of food when suddenly my instinct screamed danger. It was the same feeling I had learned never to ignore. Immediately I turned my head and looked around carefully. On a high mound to my right, hidden among the shadows of trees, I saw something terrifying, a powerful lion, and right beside it a lioness. Both of them stood completely still, watching every move I made. My body went numb. The food dropped from my hand, and for a few seconds I couldn't move at all. This was not an ordinary moment. I was standing in a place where men and the kings of the jungle had come face to face. One wrong move, and I could be my last. I stood completely still, my eyes locked on the terrifying scenes in front of me. The lion and lioness remained calm on the hill, but their presence felt overwhelming. There was a strange depth in their eyes, as if they were the true rulers of the entire jungle. My rifle was shaking in my hand, but I knew even the smallest mistake could end my life instantly. The air around me felt unnaturally silent, with only the sound of the stream breaking the heavy stillness. For a few moments, I felt like time itself had stopped. Then the lion slowly lifted his head and looked directly at me. That gaze was both terrifying and majestic, as if it was judging me. At that same moment, the lioness finished drinking water and looked toward him without any rush or aggression. Both of them turned away calmly and disappeared behind the hill. I stood frozen in place, unable to believe I was still alive. The moment made me realize something powerful. In the jungle, not only humans have kings, everything does, and today I had just witnessed them with my own eyes. After the lions and lioness disappeared, a deep and mysterious silence spread across the jungle. The same place that felt full of terror just moments ago now turned into an unsettling calm. I slowly moved from my spot, but my body was still weak and shaking. I picked up my rifle and walked back toward the jeep near the stream. With every step, I feel like the jungle was still watching me, studying my every move. When I finally reached the jeep, I took a deep breath and started the engine. The sound of it felt like I was returning back to the life, but my mind was still trapped in that terrifying moment. As I drove forward, flashes of what I had seen kept returning: screams, weapons, and the brutal scenes I had heard about. But now something strange had changed inside me: fear, amazement, and a strange kind of respect for the jungle, all mixed together. That journey taught me something powerful. Some forests are not just collections of trees, they feel alive and they write their own stories. This entire experience was not just about cannibals or wild beasts, it was a silent battle between human fear, courage, and nature itself. I learned that nature should never be underestimated. A jungle is not just land and animals, it is a living force full of secrets and rules. And in the end, I was not the same person who had started this journey. Some secrets are better left unsolved, because not every story has a hero who returns unchanged.